All right, hello. Happy Earth Day. My name is Mike Cornell. I'm a naturalist educator with the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. Gonna take you around. Usually I work at the Frick Environmental Center in Squirrel Hill, but lately I have been working out of my house, as a lot of us have, and I am lucky enough to have a really big garden attached to my house. There goes a helicopter. So we're going to walk around the garden and we'll talk about some of the stuff that's blooming, some of what's coming up, what you can do around your house, to encourage native pollinators, things like that. So if you have any questions while we're going, just put them in the comments and I will do my best to get to them. A few people did ask questions in advance, so we'll go with that for the time being. But anytime you think of something or anytime you have a question, just pop it in there and I will get to it. So once again, happy Earth Day from everybody at the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. My name is Mike Cornell, naturalist, and we are walking around my garden today. So some of the people who asked questions in advance, one of the questions we got was about what are the next trees to flower. And I just happened to be walking past a really wonderful tree. So you may have seen like magnolias and cherries were blooming and still are blooming, and apples were blooming, and they're wonderful. Some of the next trees to flower, I've got one right here, are the red buds, and I love red buds, and they are getting planted all over the place in town lately. And they come up and they have these just big sprays of pink. You can see one in the background back there. Really wonderful trees. And so they're going to start blooming soon. I guess we'll get tulip poplars will start blooming in a little bit. They're really pretty. And fruit trees are just still going, still pumping out blossoms. So if we walk up this way, towards where our fruit trees are. This is a plum that's spent now, but here's another plum that just has some really wonderful flowers on it. And these plum trees are just loaded with bees. When it's sunny out, you'll come out and the plums, it's like a cloud of bees around them. We're coming up to the peach here. Some really nice flowers. This is a little bit, it's kind of just about gone, but peaches and plums and cherries, they're all somewhat related, and they flower at similar times. But here's our cherry tree, and holy moly. Stephanie, who just got on, this is in my garden in East Liberty. So we've been gardening here for a while now, so these trees are getting kind of big. But yeah, we're just going to walk around and see what's blooming, talk about what native plants we can plant in our gardens, how we can attract native pollinators, and depending on the timing, we might take a little walk around, look at some street trees, stuff like that. So there was a question about what is my favorite thing about red buds. And there are so many things to like about red buds, it's hard to pick just one thing. But one thing that I really like about red buds is that you can eat the flowers. So, and they're delicious. Here, I'll pop one in my mouth. So they taste kind of like a sweet pea shoot, and which makes sense because they are also legumes. They make a flour that actually kind of looks like a pea flour, and they taste like a pea. And just like beans and peas and stuff, they also fix nitrogen. So they take nitrogen out of the air and they make it usable. So it's a pretty cool thing about red buds. Yeah, delicious. So, you can cook them. You can saute them, just kind of stir fry them. They're very mild though. You might prefer just like a little small handful of them on a salad or something like that. And you should be careful. I know, I have seasonal allergies, and I've definitely had some like scratchy throat after eating them because of the pollen, I think. So just, anytime you're going to try something, be very careful, and also just try a little bit. So, yeah, there's a lot of other trees flowering back here. The pawpaws are about to flower. Here, I don't know if you can eat other parts of the red bud. The only part I know about is the flower, so that's what I'm sticking with. And don't eat too many because, they're there for the bees too. So I'm just going to turn this around. We can see these pawpaw flowers. Maybe we can get focused on them. They're about to open, and they're so cool when they open. These are like a deep burgundy purple, and they smell kind of gross, but they're really, really cool. They attract flies, and so one way apparently that you can attract flies to your pawpaw stand is to nail some roadkill up to a tree in there. So if you're into that, I guess you could do that. We don't seem to have any problems getting flies though. So, yeah, so cold weather and blooms. We are having a cold snap, and it's kind of late in April for the cold snap, at least now, with our zones changing and stuff. We have one plum tree that flowers really early, and a lot of times those blooms will freeze and die off. So, yeah, so sometimes they won't set fruit. But, yeah. So some of the native things you can plant that are flowering are like the red buds are starting to flower now. The pawpaw is starting to flower. We have things that aren't trees that are native and starting to flower too, like these wood poppies. These are just spectacular. These are a native spring wildflower, and they're just really wonderful. And some Virginia bluebells down here. So nice little flowers. Yeah, and if you're picking, or if you're choosing native flowers for your garden, some people have asked, what's the best native plant to plant in your garden, or what's the best native for pollinators? And really the best native plant and the best to plant in your garden, or the best native plant to plant for pollinators, is one that's going to grow, right? So, as long as you're planting native flowers, you're going to be helping out the native pollinators. But you're really only going to help them if they're growing. So it's good to make sure that you're paying attention to, to what the conditions are like, where you're going to plant them, and what's going to grow, because what's going to grow is what's going to benefit the pollinators. Some that I really like are mountain mint. So we have mountain mint at the Frick Environmental Center outside the From Slavery to Freedom Garden. It smells wonderful, and in the summer, you can just sit there and listen to the bees buzzing around you. It's really, really wonderful. I don't think you can eat wood poppies. That was a question asked. I don't know. I don't think you can. And since I don't know that you can, I'm not going to say you can. Look it up. So, took a little walk around the block, which was nice. Thanks for getting me out. Once again, I just wanted to say Happy Earth Day from everybody at the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. We hope that you're able to get out, get some nature, be safe about it, and stay healthy.